This 3-week period is referred to in Chazal as Bein HaMetzarim. For those who were in when we spoke about Pesach, what does Metzarim mean? What does Mitzrayim mean? Remember Metzar Yam? Bein HaMetzarim means to within the straits, like narrow. Metzar means constricted. What's the obvious reason why it's referred to as between the pain, between the constraint?
Because we were kind of between the rules and laws and suffering.
Yeah, because we were being strained then. Is that what you were saying? Like we ourselves were being constricted during that time period, and we still are. However, a narrow strait, a narrow path is not necessarily a roadblock, right? Hydraulic power plants or use narrow straits, right, for their energy. Rockets or garden hoses use narrow straits for extra increased productivity. A shofar is a narrow strait used to blow a shofar. When we have pain, that is perfectly designed to lead us towards increased productivity. Meaning, we are in the Jewish nation right now is in a time period called Chevlei Mashiach. Have you heard of that name before? Which means the birth pangs of Mashiach. Why the birth pangs? Because Chevlei Mashiach, the birth pangs of Mashiach, meaning birth pangs are, hold on, you're having contractions, the baby's about to come out. And the most painful part of labor is what they call crowning, right? When the baby is about to come out is a pain that, okay, anyways. So the baby is about to come out, right? And then it's the most painful, there are no words to put to it. And then you have a baby. Then we have Mashiach. So right now, we are all so in middle of our pain. Every single person, and the Jewish nation as a whole, and the world as a whole. We are so much in that intense pain. But we're waiting for, pain isn't necessarily bad. Hard isn't bad, hard is just hard. And we're in a hard place now. I want to read you a beautiful line I was reading last night, and it had to do with this, so I'm like, oh, I should bring it in. I was at the Kotel last night, and I was sitting there, and every time I go there, I think the same thing of like, what are we doing here? You see people just sobbing and crying from all walks of life at this wall. The world is fighting over this wall. For what? Okay, Mark Twain said this. I'm going to read a direct paragraph. He says, if the statistics are right, the Jews constitute but 1% of the human race. It suggests a nebulous dim puff of stardust lost in the blaze of the Milky Way. Properly, the Jew ought hardly to be heard of, right? But he is heard of, has always been heard of. He is as prominent on the planet as any other people, and his commercial importance is extravagantly out of proportion to the smallness of his bulk, right? Einstein, Marx, Freud, Mark Zuckerberg, these people are all Jewish, right? His contributions to the world's list of great names in literature, science, art, music, finance, medicine, and abstruse learning are also way out of proportion to the weakness of his numbers. He has made a marvelous fight in this world, in all ages, and has done it with his hands tied behind him. The Egyptian, the Babylonian, and the Persian arose, filled the planet with sound and splendor, then faded to dream stuff, and they are gone. Other peoples have sprung up and held their torch high for a time, but it burnt out, and they sit in twilight now, or have vanished. All things are mortal but the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. What is the secret of his immortality? Blaise Pascal, the 17th century French philosopher, was asked by Louis the 5th or 7th or 50th, I'm not sure which one, for proof of the supernatural. He was asked, give me proof of the supernatural. His response was, the Jews, Your Majesty, the Jews. We are in Chavlei Mashiach, we'll finish here. We are in the birth pangs of Mashiach. There's something to the Jewish nation that it defies all odds that we are still here. The month of the hardest pain and hardship is the month called Av, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, but I'm your father. And sometimes it's hard. And in general, if you reflect back on our own lives, oftentimes we find the place of our biggest breakdowns are the place of our biggest breakthroughs. And we see that, of like, that was so hard, and then look what came from it. So we should all be zocheh and merit to use our pain that we have and use the challenges that we have and the hardships that we have and not let one tear go to waste. And say, Kadosh Baruch Hu, and this is for you, and channel it to something bigger, not to waste the pain, because pain is meant to be channeled. So, I want to continue the next class on Tisha B'Av, because there's still a bit more to say. I mean, there's tons to say, but we didn't cover it. But any questions so far on Tisha B'Av?